Welcome back to the final part of the programme that we're going to start with this short test that Don sent me of a bike that he's already ridden quite recently, except this now has an aftermarket exhaust system.
Here we have the Agusta Superveloce, the Italian beauty. We have road tested one of these before, except that one was not black.
And as everyone knows, everything looks better when painted black. Except maybe Canadian Prime Ministers.
Apart from more beautifulness, it has much the same as the previous model. It still has a steel trellis frame, Marzocchi forks, a sack rear shock, and a dry weight of 173 kilograms. The motor is still a 798cc triple that in standard trim pushes 148 horsepower and 88 newton meters of torque. The big difference between this bike and the last one, though, is down under. A set of Arrow exhausts.
And as every petrolhead, especially motorcyclists, know, when you put an exhaust on any vehicle, it completely changes the vehicle. So therefore, we have not actually ridden this motorbike, so we better ride it again, you know? And as any mature adult knows, when you put an exhaust on anything, you have to do, naturally, a cold start. So let's do one of those. Push button, get ready. Whoa. 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 It's not quite as loud as I thought it would be, but it's still pretty damn cool. The only thing that would be better now is to actually do a flat out run on that and really hear what it sounds like. That would take us being in full kit, doing a flat out run, and we will have that in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so here we are on the motorbike. It is running. We're currently in first gear. So what we're going to do now is open it and see what happens. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. Oh, quick shift up. Oh, what a movement. Listen to that triple. Isn't that glorious? Oh, that sounds so good. I feel like a 1970s or 60s racer. The only thing I could think that would be better is perhaps a down change. Let's see. Ooh. Oh, I'm such a fan. I'm such a fan.
But exhausts offer more than just sound. Actually, this specific exhaust offers a special fuel map with it. What MV does not offer is how much the performance is improved, but it's not difficult to feel the difference.
Of course, this is based on an F3 chassis, so it handles magnificently. The only difference is now when you open the throttle, there's a bit more of a kick to it. So you open the throttle out of this corner and there we go. Yeah, oh, there we go. Yeah, that's a lot of, there we go. And it carries it all the way to the top of the rev range. Personally, I think just the soundtrack alone is worth it. It's worth the price. Having your bike go faster is just an optional extra, and it's easy to use, and it's better in every way.
That's all good and well, but as we said, an exhaust completely changes a motorcycle. It makes it something else.
You know, when you see little kids mimicking riding motorcycles, they go whoop, 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 and yeah, they pull the throttle with the wrong hand, but they also make a sound. They'll go whoop, whoop, or whoop, whoop, or zoom, or, but it's always got to be a soundtrack, because the sound is important. I'm prepared to forgive stuff, like if the bike doesn't look great or it doesn't go well. If it sounds good, it's like, I'm prepared to forgive it, because the sound gives you this sort of image or this imagination that kind of you're somewhere else, being someone else, doing something else. In my case, this thing makes me feel like a 1960s, 70s Playboy racer. However ridiculous that sounds. That's part of it. You ride motorcycles to be somewhere else, to do something else, to be someone else. It's escapism. And having an exhaust just makes it better. It makes you forgive other stuff. Fortunately with the Superveloce, it looks magnificent. It handles magnificently. It goes magnificently. Now it sounds better. And now it goes slightly better. And that is just perfect. It's just perfect in every single way. Yes! That's great.
A beautiful bike, an attention-grabbing noise, and a machine that makes him feel like some kind of racing hero from the 1970s. All at the same time he's trying to impress a new lady in his life. Coincidence? I think not. In his mind's eye, he thinks he looks like this. Giacomo Agostini, motorcycle racing legend, Italian playboy, and in his 1970s heyday, an almost irresistible magnet for a large portion of the opposite sex. This is what Don actually looks like. So the fact that there is, I hear, a new lady in his life suggests that MV Agusta's Superveloce and an Arrow exhaust combined to create one of the most powerful aphrodisiacs known to mankind. Leaving aside the troubling mental images of Don in full romance mode, I shall move on as quickly as possible, mentioning only that the slip-on Arrow is available for about 30,000 rand and will be worth a couple of horsepower at best. But, as Don says, it's the noise and the looks that you're after for your 400,000 rand plus bike. Okay, I've just got a bit of spare time to answer a question that came up after I recently talked about how utterly mental the new top-of-the-range sport bikes are, where 200 horsepower, even in the naked versions, isn't exactly unusual anymore. People started to talk about the track being the only place to enjoy them, which I don't really agree with. You can enjoy them on the road, but admittedly you can't exploit them fully in that environment. For that, you definitely need a circuit. And then we're faced with the uncomfortable but undeniable truth that even there, unless you happen to be a professional full-time racer, you still can't really get close to approaching the limits of the performance. I know we all like to think we're something special when we're in the zone, knee down, cracking the throttle hard and getting tucked into the bubble, but we're not. 25 years ago, when I was racing and road test editor for Superbike magazine in the UK, I could just about push the 600 and some of the litre class sport bikes of the time close-ish to their limits. But then the GSXRs and R1s of the world started ramping up the performance quite significantly. And ever since then, the only limits I ever discover are those of my skill level and my entirely lacking bravery. And you know what? I'm okay with that. In fact, it's my preferred way of enjoying a track day these days, and I would encourage any keen track dayer to also give it a go. Get yourself a bike with half the power of the current superbikes. Don't compromise on the chassis, and learn to take that bike to its limit and perfect your own riding by concentrating on smoothness, more corner speed, especially on the corner entry. I'm pretty sure that, like me, you'll enjoy the experience more than your 200 horsepower missile that often makes you get to the end of the day with the overriding sensation of being at the track, just being happy that you survived the experience. Finding the limits of a brilliant handling but less powerful bike will definitely make you a better rider, and chipping away at your lap times is a more rewarding experience overall. What bikes would I suggest? Well, Yamaha's new R7 is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, so that would also include the likes of Aprilia's RS660. On the older end of the scale, you might think about something like Suzuki's SV650, or maybe you could take a look at Honda's CB650R. So I hope that answers a series of questions about what bike I'd take to enjoy a track day and why. And that is all we have time for this week. We'll be back again next week when I will be riding a touring bike and Don will be riding... Yeah, let's not go down that route. I'll just say bye for now, and we'll see you on next week's bike show.